From Oscar Steakhouse, inside the Plaza Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, you're on the corner of Main Street. Welcome to the only podcast produced by and recorded in the Las Vegas Hotel Casino. From gaming to dining to entertainment to sports to Vegas history, this is the place to be for the inside scoop, because this is the place to be downtown. Now, here's Plaza CEO Jonathan Jossel.
We're here. Welcome back, Scott Roeben, aka Vital Vegas, to his fourth episode on the corner of Main Street.
Yeah. Other than Oscar Goodman, he's my most frequent guest.
That's true.
What has he ever done? Really?
Very comfortable accomplishments in life.
So you haven't heard about gunplay on Fremont Street in quite a while because things have actually gotten dramatically better in terms of safety and crime, deterring crime. Part of it, I think, is the substation down by Slotzilla. I think there's an increased presence. So I find it interesting that a negative incident can be so blown up, and it looks like this is what happens all the time, when actually things are much, much better. And I've talked to multiple people at Fremont Street, in the casinos, and they all.
There was just a very nice article the other day about the positive impact of the substation on Fremont Street, and our security team all agreed that they all work together, but the response times are much better, the presence is much better, the deterrent is much better, and you see that in the results. The closest thing you get to gunshots now are our fireworks.
Yes, well, we should talk about those, because I'm a fireworks skeptic, but you have proven your point with this strategy and this investment. I think it's a bummer nobody else is contributing to it, because then it could be longer and more elaborate.
How much more would you want to go than 5 minutes?
Well, that's what she said.
That's
what I said.
Good point. But I don't think you want to go that much longer, and I think part of it is that the Fremont Street experience has been behind this and promoting it, which is great, in that it takes people off the street and then they go back to the street and there's other things to then go and do. So I think 5 minutes is the sweet spot. I mean, Disney does a 30-minute show, but they cheat. They mix in lasers, they mix in smoke, they mix in Disney characters.
So where are the lasers? I think the Plaza kind of is slacking. It's a good start. Let's get some drones. Let's do some lasers, some dancers. No, I think it's fascinating, the political aspect of this, because what you're talking about is this balance of everybody on Fremont Street under the canopy loves the idea of fireworks, right? Because it's another thing for downtown, it's another thing to push. But if you turn eyeballs toward the Plaza, which I think this is probably intended to do and does very well, now you deal with another set of folks who are saying, well, you don't want, it's like when Boyd, they don't have outdoor bars because they don't want people to step out of their casino.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of this kind of operational, kind of long-standing traditions of, keep what you have.
Yeah, I think it's also kind of closed-minded, old mentality. It's changed a bit over the years, and Fremont Street's proven that alone. When it was built, and we've debated this endlessly, you and I, about the impact of Fremont Street.
We talked about it the last time you were on the podcast.
Was the last one, or was it the one 2 times ago?
It may have been 2.
It was a while ago, but my point is, when Fremont Street was built, it was just a light show. It was never meant to be a zip line, 4 stages of music, street entertainers, bars. So you watch the light show. I remember coming here in 2004, you watched the light show, then you went back inside. Now everyone keeps walking down the street to the next bar, to the next street performer.
The next stage.
Fireworks, East Fremont, they just add to the different elements happening downtown. Not everyone's coming to the end of the street, but those that are already here then come and do that. And it's certainly, I also think it's less political. I think it sounds good for social media and for everyone to say it's political, but I think the relationships downtown are much different to 20 years ago.
You might be right, but all the things you just discussed were done by Jeff Victor, who was fired by the Fremont Street Experience Board. So everything is political. It affects the street. It affects the relationship between the casino. I agree.
That alone was 5 years ago, wasn't it? How long's Jeff been gone?
Right around that time.
Way more.
Yes. So you're right that the relationships are
it's
changing.
Changed. I didn't know the president of the Golden Nugget 5 years ago. And today is one of my good friends in town. Obviously, I've known Derek for many years. The others on Fremont Street, even Andrew's been great in bringing people together. We'll get onto it, I'm sure, in a little bit, but there was a downtown meeting to work on F1.
Let's talk about that too.
Who would have thought that would ever have been possible? And when I say downtown meeting, I mean every single casino owner in downtown or representative of the owner in downtown.
Except Downtown Grand.
Oh, that's great.
Which is for sale.
Yeah, which is
but
right.
yes, no, I would never have thought that meeting would happen. I mean, Fremont Street Experience, those member casinos meet all the time, but Strat's not involved,
Right.
and Strat was that meeting. You're typically not.
El Cortez was there. I was
commingling.
there.
Yeah, El Cortez. I mean, that's amazing, and I think it's because it takes a tragedy like F1 to bring people together.
Well, you might be right on that, but it was happening anyway, and the firework thing was happening, for a few months now. They all agreed to support me, and yes, we're bearing the cost of it, but they didn't have to support it. They didn't have to send everyone to Fremont Street. I know I get texts from other businesses downtown. This is great. Thanks for doing this. It's a different world. It's not as political. There still is a plane landing platform in front of our building, but it's closer to soccer now than anyone else, and I think it's good that more things happen on the main street or the west end of Fremont Street. Is good for everyone, at least on the west end of Fremont Street. It has to happen.
Yeah, and they've added more of the concert series down here on Main Street as well, which kind of helps.
They did that on Friday, right?
The Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the news with you, Scott? How you been?
I'm doing great. I have some fantastic news. Your new Just Rice
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't
food
talked about that on the
concept
podcast.
No, we haven't.
is good. So I'm so relieved because I didn't really talk that much about Aloha, and I know there are people that were involved still. They're on your team, so I don't. It just didn't do anything for me.
Sure.
So I'm really glad that this new concept came up and that it's been implemented. It's not just rice. So I'm assuming a rebrand in probably 4 to 6 months of the name of it.
Oh, I think you're wrong. He being our partner in this. We don't own Just Rice. It's a tenant. It's a third party.
Yeah, what's his?
And he
he's the popcorn
loves Just
guy.
Rice. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to torment him today because he the stand out front put a jack, like a car jack under it. So I was gonna tweet something about they jacked up the prices at the popcorn truck or something.
But about
He loves the name Just Rice. He thinks it's got a catchiness to it. He's doing branding around it, merchandise around it. I'm confused too because I think their curry's unbelievable.
The noodles?
Their noodles are
the
great.
drunken noodles.
I mean, the
best
noodles,
dish you get.
but the yellow curry is world class. I'm
Yeah.
not saying this isn't rice, mate. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? But anyway, he loves the name. And I think it brings up a very interesting subject of thank you for complimenting it and no hard feelings on Aloha. It didn't work out, but
Not everything sticks, you know. You
Correct.
gotta try it. Because
And-
that one was smart on the kind of on the. If you're gonna get some Cal customers or some Main Street customers, like you have to play to that group, and they have very specific dietary like things they
Right,
like,
right.
and that's why Boyd has oxtail
Oxtail
soup. Like,
soup.
you can't find
Mocha.
oxtail
Well,
soup.
I'm a big believer in better every day, and you do something to make yourselves better. And Aloha, for all of its flaws, was better than Manchu Wok, right? So we got rid of Manchu Wok, bought them out, did Aloha ourselves, and then along came Les with Just Rice, and that was a better fit for us and somebody who was committed to it. And it does raise the question. It's an interesting old debate that used to go back to the original days with Steve Wynn and Sheldon Adelson on, do you own and operate your own venues, or do you just lease them out to the people that are committed to doing that? And I've gone back and forth on that. I thought, no. You want to lease it out originally in 2010, 11. And then I was like, no, we can do this ourselves. It's buy it all in-house. And now I'm kind of stuck in between the two. I think there's merits to both. And I think something like that venue is hard for our team here to focus on when they're trying to run Oscars or the pool and the bigger operations. And they got to worry about the Hawaiian stand versus Les, who's got a dedicated team and chefs who's doing it in other locations, who's focused on it. And
So you're saying less is more.
Less is more sometimes. He's on fire.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Hey,
Unbelievable.
but I think that's a fascinating area of business in Las Vegas because so many of the bigger companies are bringing that stuff in house, and yet you got Caesars, who is constantly doing these licensing deals with celebrities,
Right.
and managing it in house
Themselves,
through
right.
their food and beverage team, and so I think are the typical visitors. You know, they don't care who's paying for what.
Exactly.
They just want something good.
Mhm.
Caesars has obviously found kind of that's the sweet spot for them is let's put a name on it, give the chef 5%, our team's going to do it. We get the name recognition, presumably that draws people. Because how else would you explain Hell's Kitchen? It's a solid 6, but it's packed. It's making more money.
That's the one
than
that replaced
most.
Serendipity, the dessert place.
Yeah, well, that was pretty good too. The place with 400, literally 400 menu items. But they're printing money at that place. It's making more money than most restaurants in America, simply because it has that name on it. It's a good location too.
Location is fun.
Yeah.
Right across from Absinthe.
But yeah, for an operator, it's kind of like I guess most shows are four-wall things. So we got to talk about your new show too. I know I'm not here to interview you, but
you're plugging all about.
There's a
you're
lot
plugging
going
Jossel
on
Rice.
at
You're
Plaza.
plugging the new show, fireworks. You're just plugging us, man.
I'm
Keep
telling
it up.
you, it's just do something I don't like and then see what happens.
Oh, I
I
see.
could not
I
get
see.
on a machine in your smoke-free area because this Brian Christopher person is apparently having some kind of event.
He's here. He's in the
And
house.
there's a line out the door. I don't know. There's people who they have like I have an audience. I don't know if they knew I was down there playing slots, they would show up.
I think if you said to everyone, "Hey, come and have a brisket fried rice with me," or a chicken fried rice, I should say, I think you'd probably get 30 people to show up if you gave them like 2 weeks notice.
It's possible.
So you should do like a meet and greet with chicken fried rice, and they got to pay you to come and eat with you. No, I don't know, man. People like
your rice is really good
Our rice
down
is good,
there.
yeah.
I think that's a great sign because that's like a crunchy thing. And when you lost McDonald's, nobody wants a McDonald's, but that
I
was
don't
like
know.
my late
It's
night.
crazy, McDonald's, how much business they used to do. But we thought it would be for the betterment. And we are going to eventually remodel the entire food court, which is why it made sense to accept that we were going to get rid of them at that time when the opportunity arose. But I'm blown away by how many people ate at that McDonald's and are not eating at our other outlets. Or they could be at Pink Box. Pink Box is doing
Yeah,
this
all the
is more
McDonald's
business than the
folks are-
McDonald's
Well, when the
business was.
train station went away, all your McDonald's customers.
No, you mean the bus
Oh,
station?
the Greyhound station.
Yeah, what did I say?
Train.
No, whatever. Yeah, the bus. The bus station I think brought in a lot of things. They would just make a beeline off the bus to.
I'm just happy my elevators don't smell like French fries all day long. 'Cause that was a big deal. You get into an elevator, somebody just had McDonald's. They were taking it up to their room, and it smelled like
Hash
grease
browns.
And hash browns.
Interesting.
What else is news with you? What else have you been working on?
Oh, I have some huge scoop that I have not shared anywhere else.
So,
Well, by the time this comes out, you probably would have shared it, but okay.
Good. Because I was afraid, like, I don't want to scoop myself, especially when it's a big one. So I think he's been to the Sphere. I think you said you liked it. I can't remember. I listened to every episode, obviously. But so the big scoop is that the Sphere is, that U2 performed there. They are going to do a U2 experience as another kind of movie thing, kind
Okay.
of like they're doing
Like the
with this
Postcards from
nature
Earth.
thing, right? Postcard from Earth. And so U2 was in town yesterday. They're in Burbank today because Burbank is where they're doing all the
testing.
testing of the. Have you
saw
been
that.
to that?
I went to the opening there, or not the opening, the reveal of the Sphere concept, the
In
original
Burbank?
one. Yeah, there's a little dummy one there, and then they did a whole day there.
I could be your +1 for stuff like that.
And
I'll put
that
on
was
a fake
years ago.
mustache,
And then they built. Do you remember
mustache.
were you the one when they built it at the airport? They built like a venue at the airport that showed the technology, and they displayed what Sphere was going to be there as well.
I tweeted about it, but I'm often not invited to things they don't want
Okay.
shared.
Yeah.
Because I think there was like an NDA thing announced. I'm not
I think you're
going
right.
if I
There was.
can't
We had
take
to
a
sign.
picture.
Yeah, I think you're right. We
Yeah,
did have to sign.
they
something.
couldn't.
Yeah.
But so U2's going to do. So now they doubled their
Movie
inventory
revenue.
of movies,
Yeah.
and they're going to triple it with a concept. They're working with Warner Brothers to do a Wizard of Oz themed show presentation.
What's your source?
Movie.
Because I mean, this kind of information actually could move their stock price.
Oh, yeah. If I knew anything about stocks, I'd be rich. But I think it's
Because then they need the movies, right?
Yeah.
They make more money on the movies than they do on the shows.
and the place is packed. So I still think they'll file bankruptcy at some point. But anyway, because I hate being wrong. But the movies I did not expect. A $100 IMAX movie. So all these things, these two new projects are going to be 60 minutes, which means if you calculate out how many they can squeeze in, assuming they're all full, like
Right.
it starts to become a profitable enterprise.
Plus the
Shocking.
marketing on the outside,
Yes.
which is big.
Assuming people are doing that.
They
They're
must be,
asking,
'cause you see
asking
it.
too much.
You see it.
Yeah, but
Not the emoji, but To answer your question, I like it, and I think everywhere I go in the world, everywhere I go when I travel, where was I just last week? In Utah, in Park City, whenever I go to a different city, somebody asks me, oh, have you been to the Sphere? Oh, I want to see Grateful Dead. Oh, I want to see Fish. I happen to see Fish, haven't seen Grateful Dead. I don't understand the Fish craze, but it was packed.
I didn't understand the Grateful Dead craze. I have an anecdote about that.
I heard you went to like an event or something, right? Or I saw.
It's a free museum. I would never have gone. I don't like their music. I don't care about it. The place was packed. The nicest people in the world that I've ever encountered. I've traveled the world, different countries. I've been in different subcultures. I've gone to Renaissance festivals. I've been to brothels. I've been to whatever. These were the nicest people I've ever met. They love music, but it's so far beyond that.
It's a culture. It's a cultural thing. It's the same as Fish. You don't really know what you're listening to, but you don't care. You're part of a community. You're part of an experience. It's just different.
Yep. But they can't find a ton of acts who want to stand in front of a screen that makes them look like ants. But it makes so much sense to do a U2 experience, and the nostalgia of Wizard of Oz never dies. So to do something that's first of its kind, whatever they're going to do, I don't know the specific, but those are. But
UFC is going to be there in September. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, sporting event is.
Well, what happened to or your group about Coldplay or Beyonce? Not happening.
I don't know. Haven't heard anything lately. I think they're all. It was Weekend was another one that was about to sign. I don't know.
I want you to come back just so maybe they'll do another music video here.
Yes, that was pretty good for Plaza, wouldn't you say?
I'd say so. Yeah.
The song was not great, but
I like the song. We do our fireworks to that song as part of it.
Oh no, I love that song. It's fantastic.
We curate the fireworks to different songs each week, and one of them is Atomic City. But and maybe it segues into another subject here, but booking talent and music in Vegas is just different to anywhere else in the world. It's just so hard. They all want to come in for the most money, and it's the most expensive. And we were talking about this with our new show with Amy on the other podcast about the cost of going to see Adele, or like how much money she's making, or a different artist might be making, and they're expensive. And when they come to Vegas, they all want to make more and more money, which is why I think festivals are challenged in Vegas, which is why I think other events, showrooms are difficult in Vegas. It's just hard to find the right talent at the right price that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's things like J-Lo, that was a surprise. She canceled her show here because she needs to spend more time with her family. And there was also a rumor she was going to do residency, but I'm pretty sure that's dead. So that was an interesting one, just because usually they'll change course like that.
Was it poor ticket sales?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was brutal. Like her whole tour was just a fraction of what they expected.
I wonder, is there ever going to be another Celine Dion or an Elton John? Those are the only two that really were timeless.
Yeah, those were perfect for those. And Elton John is he's still there, I think, still going, right? So I think those were great residencies for a reason that a lot of people don't even think about, which is it's not just about the ticket sales, it's the customer that performer draws. And the demographic of that older customer with Adele is the same thing. Like Adele is great for Caesars, not because she sells out that theater, but because those people eat and stay at the hotel. And
and she's got a broad audience. I know some huge Chinese gamblers that are desperate to take their kids to go see Adele.
Interesting.
So you're staying at the Wynn, and you're a big Chinese gambler from the Wynn, but your family want to go see Adele. Oh, I need tickets to go see Adele, kind of thing.
Wow.
I heard of that. That's good for Caesars.
Yeah. Well, I think the whole landscape has changed, and you did a great conversation with Ms. Have, talking about how there's that it's cyclical, it seems like, and so now we're back in the headliner superstar kind of phase. The production shows are kind of on the wane. That's why her show is it's that middle ground. And she's smart, because that ticket price, she's absolutely right that it makes a difference, because if you're used to getting hit with $200 or $300, even just for names, they'll do a band where there's only one surviving member and they wheel them in on a wheelchair. All due respect to the olds.
Yeah,
but
I
my
think it's
fellow
all about the
youth-
experience these days. People want a different experience. It needs to be more intimate. I think when you put someone in a room with 20,000 people, it's just not the same thing. And we talked about that as well. But her show's going to be a real test to see how things work
Look
out.
at that. I love her because she can put a positive spin on anything because she's like, this room is so beautiful.
Yeah.
I think it'll be beautiful even with no people in it. She said that during the pod. I'm like,
She's right.
You just said the rooms will be
She's
beautiful
right.
even without people in it because she knows it's going to be a challenge. That was
Yeah.
my first question. I was like, that's a substantial theater when you're talking about coming from cheap shop where you had 50, 60 maybe.
If you can't make money with 50, 60 people, that's the problem, right? Can you sell 200 tickets and give someone a really special experience?
Yeah. Can you sell 200 tickets?
I don't
That's
know.
that's the
So
key.
we're about to find out.
So she's paying rent though, right? This is a four wall.
It's a 4-wall deal. We're actually sharing in some of the revenues.
Oh,
And we are going to do everything we can to support her. But we did the same at the Mob Story. And, they just didn't have the
Great
resources
show.
to survive.
That was a shame because the way the Mob Museum has caught on, there was no reason that show shouldn't have as well. It's a
Interestingly, the
shame.
Mob Museum would never help promote the show, though. That was an issue between the showrunner and the museum. There was some question of accuracy or validity. I don't know what. I'm not in the mafia scene. But apparently, there was questions about who's a legit mafia versus illegitimate
Oh,
mafia. And,
they didn't want to give their stamp of approval. if they
yeah, it
didn't.
was something like that.
Oh, that's too bad because
That would have helped
would've
a
been
lot.
good
That could have made all
partnership.
the difference, yeah.
Yeah.
And Oscars helped, but just wasn't enough there. And to be fair, Oscars wasn't as busy and as good as it is today, right? Oscars has come a long way in the last 5 years. Had the Mob Story, had the amount of business we have today, plus the carousel and the pink box and all of that, maybe all of that helps Amy and gets more people down there.
Yeah, that was an odd one because it was kind of attached to an individual too. He had to be in every show, right?
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, so. That
By
was
the way, I
kind of
just
an
saw
odd-
was in Ireland with Conor McGregor.
Is he?
What is he
Right.
doing? You got to look that up.
I'll take a
Instagram.
look at it. Yeah,
It's
but,
on. It's on. I think it's on Conor McGregor's Instagram.
Okay, but yeah,
Post
I
a
mean,
picture of him.
Francis is blowing up as well, doing his podcast
He's
and all of his social
everywhere.
media too.
So you're saying the Mob Museum says he's not a real?
No, I don't know if it was
Made
him.
guy.
I
Oh,
don't
okay.
remember. I don't know if it was him or if it was the story that he was telling what lacked some accuracy. I don't know. I don't remember. But for whatever reason, they did not want to get behind the show, which was part of the, I guess, business plan was that Mob Museum was going to push people here afterwards.
Yeah. Oh, it had a business plan. Did it?
Loose
Oh.
business plan. But you mentioned Margaritaville. Did you know that we had a deal to do the first Margaritaville hotel and casino here at the Plaza in
What?
2011?
No.
Yeah, and we disagreed on terms and couldn't come to an agreement on that. But that was
Like the whole property branded.
the whole plaza was going to be called the
Wow.
Margaritaville Hotel and Casino. I have the deck in my office if you want to see it. We had the Cheeseburger Paradise pool. We had the different theme for the pit, the restaurants. It was going to be one giant Margaritaville Hotel and Casino.
I had no idea about that.
Yeah, no, I have never really thought about it in the last decade. It was 2010, 2011 when we were negotiating it. And it was right when we did the remodel, the Fountain View remodel,
Yeah.
before you joined us.
Yeah.
And we met with Jimmy Buffett's business manager, and we went to London to see Jimmy Buffett in concert, see how wide his fans were. Not wide, but how big his fan base was. And fell out because of the economic business points. Which is why it's interesting it closed down the strip, because it was killing him back in the day. I don't know what could change, but it was massive.
Well, I was
You
told
still
that.
have that deck?
Yeah.
Oh, I want.
We need to see it.
I
We
want
need to
see
see it. We'll
too.
share
I'll do
some
a
pictures
story
if
about
we
it.
can.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I don't see why not. It's been 15 years and it's
There's been a lot of near misses here.
We had a great one. We had Slash from Guns N' Roses. Slash was going to do the Las Vegas Club before we sold it to Circle.
What the
It was going to be Slash's Vegas Club, and we had so imagine we would have had Margaritaville here and Slash's Vegas Club there. And we would have had we were looking for ways to rebrand. We would have had I can show you that deck as well. That was a great deck. They're in my office. We'll go there after this.
Because there was a
I had one other
Spiegel
one.
thing, right?
Which one?
A Spiegel World element. at
We
some
talked to
point.
Ross about doing a Spiegel World Hotel Casino. That was later on. That was not recent, also about 10 years ago, but Slash was about 12 years ago. We were trying to figure out a way to rebrand it. Obviously, Las Vegas Club didn't mean much. And frankly, I'm very proud of what we've done with the Plaza. But 14 years ago, I don't think people were thinking about the Plaza the way they do today.
If you had had one of those deals, do you think you would have still had that property in some form? Like if you had found somebody who was a collaborator on the Margaritaville level. That's worldwide.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that
I don't know what
Margaritaville was
the-
for Plaza, Slash was for the Vegas Club. We had two other brands of individuals, and then we started getting nervous about like, well, what if the guy does something? What if he gets Me Too'd? What if this happens with that? And then you're like tied to this brand.
You would have needed a full renovation over at the Las Vegas.
Oh yeah,
Club,
no,
right?
it was. I'll
Put
show you
that
the
together.
deck. It was a full renovation. Yeah, it was pretty. I have a picture of me Slash his wife standing in front of the Las Vegas Club at Fremont Street.
No, because that would be tricky, because an individual being identified with an individual, it's Virgin. It's not Richard Branson Hotel and Casino.
How's
By the way, do you have a scoop on what's going on over there at Virgin with the strike?
Yes.
the union strike?
The union strike.
Yeah. So they did a two-day strike. Virgin did its last best, mostest offer. Complete silence since then. I don't think the union fully grasped that this property is it's on the verge of bankruptcy. So it would be irresponsible.
Is that
of
a
them-
fact, or is that just your
Yes.
belief?
It's hemorrhaging money.
Are you another Paulie C here? You're just going to tell us everyone's on the verge of bankruptcy?
Reading all their financial statements.
Well,
Well,
sometimes
hello.
it's actually true.
Virgin is on the.
I noticed you had Starfish do the fireworks.
Yeah.
And how can you be friends with Starfish and Pauly C? That's tricky stuff. You're like,
I've
you
navigated
should
those
do
waters.
the negotiations in the Middle East.
Right,
Because if you can balance those two
Right.
polar opposites, you might. And I'm here, like everyone. I have feuds with everyone. So
You know, a lot of people ask me, like, why do you do it? I think it's the best foreign marketing. You know, Jen, Vegas Starfish, she came to an Oscars dinner series, and her reach is unbelievable. She
It
came
is.
to the last one. You didn't show up to. I noticed.
I was not invited.
Well, you made a weird comment to me at the one before that, where you said, "Well, you know, I feel bad. I don't have to come to all of them if you don't want me to." And
No,
was
I
like,
feel bad because there's a hard cost to inviting media.
Yeah.
I don't.
But yeah,
You know, but I love these sessions. I love Oscar. I love seeing all the people you get at these things. Like it's a menagerie of
yeah.
like politicians and sports people, and like you just never know who's going to be here.
Yeah, no, I feel like that is a good point. But sometimes then when we don't have like that level of people, then people are like, man, it's not the same. There's always interesting.
Mark Davis
There's,
isn't here this
there's always
week.
interesting.
That's
There's always interesting. Yeah, no, Oscar was roasting Mark Davis and everyone else in the room. But that social media thing is so powerful. Whether you hate them, love them, you, Paulie, Starfish, even the foodies, they can make look what they've done with some of the other restaurants. Some of the older restaurants, they've gone on aggressive like foodie, what they call channels, and really created content that people love. Everyone searches out that stuff now when they eat. It doesn't mean the food's good, but they want to take the video of the lobster coming out of the oil or whatever, out of the butter sauce. It's pretty amazing.
I'm not saying I'm influential, but that Vital Vegas fried rice is keeping Circa open. That's I don't want to
Single-handedly.
overstate what I.
Well, can we do a Vital Vegas fried rice at the Just Rice?
It's good. I tweeted it.
Did
It
you
went
eat
to
that today?
22,000 people.
Did you eat that today?
I didn't have time. I try not to get up this early, but I was I got up just in time to make it to the podcast.
So anyway, do you think the union's going to come to a term with them, or?
They have to, because I don't think there's any, like, they're not interested in like union busting, but there's only so much they can do, so the union has to get a grip, and they'll figure out some way to spin it as, you know, we'll delay this we'll take what you're offering, your $1 an hour or whatever, until, you know, 3 years into the contract, because they can customize it any way they want,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah.
like, we'll give you a couple of years. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're just showing them the balance sheet. Like,
Yeah.
where do you think this money is coming from?
Well, I was at the Keen Memory Live event, and Cliff, who was the president of Virgin, was at the dinner that night, the night that they were striking them, or whatever they were doing, that walkout thing there. And, you know, it's stressful. It's not easy, but he told me
He
his
was
best foot
where?
forward. The Keep Memory Alive Gala.
I thought that was top secret that he was there.
Is it? Oh.
Well, I don't know. I asked
know
him,
it's
I'm like,
secret.
are you really not on
No, but he
property
did go.
during
He
this
did
strike?
go. He told me he went early that morning to
Oh,
help,
okay.
and he went the next morning to. I think the gala's a thing in this community that everyone supports, but maybe that was top secret.
No, the union undermines itself because it had this kind of, you don't do a 2-day strike. I worked at the Writers Guild of America. I'm a union expert. You don't do a 2-day strike because you think it's accomplishing something, but you're really just showing that you can't actually strike because you don't have a strike fund. So now your threats are toothless.
It's bizarre as well because, but it's different. Bertrand is different because it's on its own there. See, downtown on the Strip, if they strike one of these places on Fremont, they're going to block a lot of traffic. If they strike the Strip, it's going to impact business a lot. Bertrand's on an island.
It's not that they're out on the
standing out there in
sidewalk.
100-degree heat on the sidewalk or more. And the other thing that they missed was the Strip. They held over a barrel with F1. Downtown, they got us with Super Bowl as their deadline. Except for Downtown Grand, who decided to take longer. But it was this idea that they were going to jeopardize those big weekends. In hindsight, they should have struck to F1, but well, not the middle of the Strip, I guess. But the budget might be different. They might actually have some power. Who knows?
Yeah, it's not a good situation with the union. They're not the most savvy. They're kind of like the baby crap stable. They're a baby union. Like they don't.
What were you talking about?
The union. They're a baby. It's a baby union. Like they're not fully formed.
What are you talking about?
It's like amateur hour. But anyway, I'm talking about the leadership, not the members. Are awesome.
All right.
Well, just changing subjects. I know you tweet about it a lot. What's the situation with Tropicana and the A's?
Oh, I got a Tropicana pin. I got a Tropicana pin.
So there are a lot of experts in this area. I'm only an expert of talking to people who are involved.
Because I only follow you for what's going on with the A's.
Thank you. That's the only source you need of anything, really. So what's happening is they just submitted this thing they need approved. They need like 4 contracts approved from Clark County. LBCBA is involved, all this stuff. So they're going through the motions that they should, if say they had the money. They're doing all the things that you would do if you had financing for a ballpark. Okay. And you want to make sure that the team doesn't move. They have this 30-year agreement they need approved, but it's all just smoke and mirrors because there's really no indication that the A's have $500 million. So a lot of people talk about the owner being very wealthy. He's not investing any of his money. He's looking for investors, minority owners of the team. So he wants to sell a percentage of the team. So at this point, there's no financing. The whole deal at this point is contingent on a ballpark being built at the Tropicana because that's where they're getting this tax dollars, subsidies, whatever you want to call them. So there's no financing from the A's. Bally's Corp, which is the manager of all the stuff on top of the land, it also has no money. The land owner is not building anything. So we're demolishing a mediocre, mid-level hotel casino for no reason. But you wouldn't know that if you read the Review Journal, all these other news organizations, because they're like full steam ahead.
Right.
It's like the term.
But they can only report what they're told, right? Or hypothesize on what they suspect. But does anyone really believe it's not happening other than you? I mean, everyone seems to think it's happening.
Right, but why would they think that?
Because that's what they're told. Everyone told me there was going to be a train at the Plaza, and there still isn't a train. We're going to stand out there and wait for the train to arrive. It never came. I mean, it's...
They told you, like the high-speed one that was going to...
on the Eastern train tracks, they were going to run that track to...
Well, no, Brightline's the perfect example. Everybody's reporting, we broke ground, we've got studies in place, you're missing many hundreds of millions of dollars to complete the project. So you can either report what you're told, or you can look at it with a critical eye and say there's a lot of evidence that there's things that are not in place.
But don't they have to pay rent on that land? So what are they going to do with that land if they don't build the stadium there? And haven't the A's already left Oakland?
The A's are going to play in Sacramento for 3 years, and they're not going to leave.
You think they stay there?
They're being wooed.
This is on the record now.
On the record, the Seminoles are offering to build them as a ballpark. Nobody in Vegas is offering to build them anything. If anything, the excitement about them, the Major League Baseball team, is done because they've you can fumble a ball at baseball, right? They fumbled so bad.
You make an error.
Whatever, soccer, football, whatever you call it in Europe. But they have screwed this up so badly, and they're so. From day one, the people that I talked to were involved with these big decisions in Vegas have said these are not serious people. There's nobody who believes it except the Review Journal and some other, but all these other sports experts, the people they talked to, are saying the same thing. Like, Fisher is screwing this up. He doesn't have the funds. He hired this company to try to get the funding. Still, no takers, because they're looking for somebody to invest in a number that doesn't exist yet. They're looking for someone to invest in a projection. That's not how these people are smart. Hedge funds and real estate investment trusts, like, they're smart business people. They're not going to invest in something that's not valuable because it might be because.
But there's all those nice renderings showing it happening.
Oh my gosh, those renderings are
beautiful.
So, opening pitch 2028, 2029. Is it going to be in Vegas?
Sacramento.
Yes, Sacramento. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I refer to them as Sacramento.
Don't know. I hope you're wrong. I think we need more of that. That corner is nuts to put it on there. But I think it's good for business. I think you lose the rooms at Tropicana. I sent you an article today about Mirage. Those are 3,000 rooms. How does that affect the city? Those rooms will come back, but Tropicana's rooms may never come back as a stadium or something. Or it's a much smaller hotel.
No, I think it will come back as a resort. The resort will need all the land, because you can't build up because it's so close to the airport. So, because one of the first things I got from a major casino operator here in town, he says this is an imaginary ballpark and an imaginary resort, because you cannot build up to compensate for giving away that 9 acres to a ballpark, and a ballpark's not going to generate revenue for whoever the owner of the property is. So it's complicated. I don't pretend to know about baseball, but I know the people that I trust and respect, the people running major casino resort corporations in Las Vegas, were skeptical from day one, continue to be skeptical, and I don't lose anything by being skeptical. Like on Twitter, if I'm the lone one,
if it happens, you're wrong.
Yeah, and I'm happy.
For the city, right?
It's great. He found the funding. The ballpark's happening. What do you do with the rest of the land, though? So the whole thing starts to fall apart if you go through that scenario of like, okay, the A's miraculously get funding, the ballpark happens. Now what do you do around it? A ballpark can't sustain that property. It's not a thing.
It's also annoying they all want to go right to the Strip. I mean, at some point, downtown really deserves a sports team. We deserved MLS. We deserved that the A's could have come to downtown. The Raiders could have come to downtown. It would be really nice to get for downtown development a sports team down here.
Well, I think
we also got Wranglers, right?
Pickleball. I think
we got pickleball.
Pickleball is really the focal point of downtown, and should continue.
You laughed at me in 2016.
And I read all these articles about how pickleball, not just the fastest growing sport in the world, the game changer. Like, I still don't understand it. It looks
you
like
laughed at me. I'll never forget it. I was at the pool deck doing our big opening.
Still laughing.
No, you're not laughing anymore. And then, like, that guy's fucking brilliant. How did he come up with that? Who thought of pickleball in 2016? No one.
Nobody. I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, right. Neither did I. It was a total blind.
Well, who's doing bingo? Like, you just think different. Bingo is not a thing, but you made it a thing.
Have you been upstairs tonight?
I like it. I wish there would be a section. It should be like the Brian Christopher no smoking section. You should have a section where people can talk.
Yeah, they
because bingo people.
Did you see the YouTube video about me where it's now almost 1 million views, and the guy following me for the day got shushed by the bingo crowd?
You can find me
there we go.
at Vital Vegas on Twitter. I also do a blog that nobody reads because they think Twitter's blogging now or something. That's casino.org/Vital Vegas. Or just vitalvegas.com. Thank you guys so much. I love being on here. There's so many more things to talk about. Vegas, downtown. Well, I want to talk about pizza. Downtown has the best pizza in the world. The highest concentration of good pizza.
Actually, another person reached out to me yesterday saying they want to open a pizza place down here. They're in Henderson. I mean, everyone wants to open up pizza places downtown. We'll see.
We'll see. Good. And even
Scott, it's been great to have you. Thank you for coming. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be back here. We're sitting in the boardroom today. We're not even in Oscars. I don't know why. Can you tell me why we're not in Oscars? Gary? I'm here with Gary as usual.
Because it's just me and you just having a conversation, so...
Yeah, but you need Oscars.
Did you want the whole vibe of this?
It's messing with my vibe. My mind's not in this. Anyway, we're here today. We're going to cover a few subjects, and we're going to do a Q&A that we put out to the public, and then we got a few interesting guests coming up and a dinner series with Oscars next week, July 17th.
It's going to be exciting.
So that should be a good one, actually. He's got some baseball players, the owners of the Aviators are coming, and he's going to be talking about baseball, possibly the A's. Pretty interesting subject. So,
well, the Aviators were here. The mascots were here for the fireworks show 2 weeks ago. We're at TNT.
Yeah, they were here. They were at TNT Igniters. I got to tell you, the fireworks on Friday nights have just been a revelation. As I like to say to people, nothing works like fireworks. But it's just been amazing to see the amount of engagement from the community, the downtown businesses, social media, and it's just become in 6 short weeks, it's become like a staple of downtown. Every Friday, 9:15. Now everyone wants to, if we're going to extend it past the...
That was my next question. Are we going to see fireworks in September?
There it is. September, you probably will see fireworks. You got Life is Beautiful. And you got some other events coming up. So, yeah, we'll probably keep it on the Fridays in September. I could see us doing that. But we want to keep it as a special
We won't
summer
hold
promotion.
you to that just yet.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. But listen, in an ideal world, I'd like to do Disney. I'd like to go every single night.
Every single night.
We're not there yet. We're
Okay.
not there yet. But listen, Fremont Street and downtown has the tourism to support that. But no, we're not there, and I really enjoyed this promotion. And July 4th was huge. What a turnout.
Yeah.
Stifling heat. The hottest I remember it being here. Actually, factually, it was the hottest ever day in Las Vegas on Sunday, which was like July 6th. Yeah, or 7th.
120 degrees at McCarran Airport.
That's what they said, yeah. But a great weekend with July 4th, more fireworks.
And then we did fireworks on July 5th, and that was...
yeah, we sure did.
Just as busy as July 4th.
So things are good here. Downtown's buzzing. It's great.
But we got bigger things to talk about right now. Our podcast is now an award-winning podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of the award ceremonies usually, or the awards that the local newspapers and magazines hand out. But I am very proud that we got voted by the people, right? I mean, that's what I was told. We were voted by the people.
Reader's Choice.
Best podcast in Las Vegas.
Best Vegas podcast.
We also got, Oscar's got an award for the steakhouse. We also got the Carousel Bar got an award. So great accolades, but really the podcast deserves it, frankly. It is a great podcast. And even people that have podcasts tell me this is the best podcast. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the work that you put into this. It's a lot of work, and the organizing the guests. And I guess shout out to Lisa Melmid, who was one of the original musketeers of this podcast, because that was, of the 120 or 30 episodes we've done, that was certainly a big part. She was a big part of them. And probably should share in some of that award at some point.
Yeah, and it's just going to continue to grow. You've been engaging with all the guests. You've been honest, transparent throughout all the podcasts, and especially the conversations that you were having about F1 last November when we were on this podcast.
Yeah.
Started a whole cycle around town about
it has, and I think
downtown's involvement.
We're going to be talking about festivals in a minute, but back on the podcast, I know you've been pushing me to try different things, like with video and YouTube, and we just had a guest on Vegas Matt, where our last episode, right?
Yeah.
And you tried video with that one.
Right.
And you put on YouTube, and now it's at 60,000 views.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
That's insane. The power of YouTube is crazy.
And that's just YouTube. So that doesn't include everybody who downloaded the audio version or any of the clips. So
Right. And maybe there's more we should be doing with this podcast to be expanding and growing, engaging more. Frankly, we need to put out more content. We're only doing once every 2 weeks, but it's just a lot of work on us, and other things are happening.
We got other things that we're working on
you have a
too.
day job.
But the good news is that we do have an official On the Corner of Main Street YouTube page. That's where you can find the Vegas Matt episode. You can find all of our clips and then all of our back catalog. We went ahead and uploaded an audio version of that in case YouTube is the way that you digest your podcast content. Consume?
I think that was the word you're trying to think of.
It probably was.
Digest maybe, but consume. Sure, digest works.
Yeah, okay.
But anyway, go over to YouTube, check it out, and tell us what you think about it. Is there something for people to see there now?
Yeah, so the Vegas Matt episode is up there with video. There's some clips with Amy from Mavericks.
Okay.
That's up there, and all of our back catalogs.
Yeah, but there's no video for those. We didn't do video.
No.
You're just listening to the same
You're just listening
audio.
You're listening to the audio.
You don't have to check those out, but if you're interested in some of the video stuff,
please check them out. Support the channel.
Okay, great. So anyway, we're very proud of the podcast. And frankly, actually, as of July the 5th, I hit my own personal milestone. I've been in Las Vegas 17 years.
Congratulations.
So I was thinking of being like a slot influencer or a table game or gaming influencer like Vegas Matt. And I was going to go put $100 on number 17 until I hit it, basically.
Right.
Or until I ran out of money, one or the other. But
did you do it?
I haven't done it, no.
Okay.
I need you to come and film it with me.
That's not a problem.
Take our social media team to watch me gamble. But I haven't done it yet. But that's what I was thinking of doing because I've been watching these influencers and what they're doing. So maybe I should be a slot influencer.
If you would watch Jonathan go ahead and play slots and table games, let us know in the comments.
No, you don't need to because I won't be doing that publicly. but I am proud of 17 years. Someone asked me the other day, am I happy that I made the decision to move to Las Vegas? And I told them I say thank you every day. Not just that I made that decision, but for the opportunity that presented itself that allowed me to move to Las Vegas. The Plaza's amazing. My family life's amazing. But all of that's great in Las Vegas. When you consider the opportunity of this city and the quality of life it presents you,
right,
it's pretty amazing. For those people that get to live here and be a part of this community, it's a great place to be. So I'm
Oscar Goodman says it's the land of milk and honey.
Yeah, he calls it the land of milk and honey. He also calls it the 12-year overnight success. But I call it the Wild West. You can just do whatever you want here. You can
the last frontier.
It's the last frontier. You can look at buying casinos. You can look at buying real estate in different areas. You can try new things. You can go from meetings here in downtown where you're discussing anything from festivals to rodeos to pickleball to bingo. The opportunities are just brilliant, and you couldn't do that anywhere else. I really don't believe that. So I love this place, and I love the opportunities it's presented me.
Had you never come to Las Vegas, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
It's a ridiculous question. No idea. I really.
See, I'm just starting the Q&A early. Maybe
it's your early Q&A.
Yeah,
I'd have to
Gary from Las Vegas has that question.
I'd be somewhere in London, I got to imagine. I just don't know what I'd be doing at this point, 17 years later.
Right.
Maybe real estate, banking, who knows?
Maybe you'd be selling sports cards and vending machines?
Oh, good segue. You really wanted to get to your vending machine, huh? Everyone, if you don't know, Gary over here is responsible for a PSA vending machine, or can we say that? It's not a PSA. Is it a PSA vending machine?
They sell PSA graded
cards through a vending machine, through a third party.
They're authorized dealer.
It's caused a little stir on social media of late. We all made fun of Gary at first. What are you doing? This giant vending machine that doesn't sound very interesting. Next thing, there's a line out the door, and has been a line out the door until they sell out every single day of either Pokemon cards or sports cards. And it's been a little bit of fun for us the last 2 weeks trying to figure out why this thing is so popular, how people keep coming to it.
Yeah, it's a mystery box. You don't know the graded card that you're going to get until you've already
you buy the card, you buy a box, and in the box is a mystery card.
Right.
And it's fascinating. So if you're into this stuff, come check it out.
Check it out.
Unless it's sold out, which it seems to always be sold out. Are they stocked again? When are they stocking?
By Wednesday, it'll be stocked.
That's as of this recording. That was yesterday.
That's true. Yeah. Yes. And the plan is they plan on putting some big cards in there. I think there's going to be a $11,000 Michael Jordan card that they're talking about putting in there, and a couple booster packs for Pokemon. It's exciting. People are lined up and they're buying 5-10 of them at a time. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway, while it's here, enjoy it.
We'll see. More to come on that one.
More to come.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I wanted to mention before we get into our questions is Vital Vegas had mentioned something on Twitter about a Neon City Festival during F1.
Yeah.
And we know you've had a lot of opinions about F1 and the different things like that. Can you share any information on the podcast about what is potentially happening?
There's two festivals happening in downtown in the next couple of months. You got Life is Beautiful, and then you've got the Neon City Festival. And the Neon City Festival is going to be on the same weekend as F1. I think what we'll do, both with Life is Beautiful and this one, is have relevant guests on at the time to discuss them so we can really dive into detail on both of them. At a high level, the Neon City Festival is intended, we spent many hours in meetings with the F1, with other casino operators on the Strip, even with the LVCVA, trying to figure out how can we make F1 better for us. It's no secret it was a bad weekend in downtown last year. It was one of the lowest occupancy weekends last year. And everyone wanted to see how we can make it better for downtown. And I came to the realization through these meetings, it's going to be very hard for F1 to benefit downtown. Mm-hmm. F1 is going to be a Strip event. God bless them. It's good for those properties that it really impacts. And then some of the surrounding ones need additional help. By the time it gets to downtown, it's just not there. There's just not the support
demand or ability for F1 to benefit downtown. So
it's just not a citywide event.
It's just a different demographic. Right. There's just so many reasons why it's just not going to come to downtown. So the question then became, how do you then become the alternate to F1, right? We're not anti-F1. We don't hate F1 on its own island there on the Strip. How do we downtown cater to the people that still want to come to Vegas, still want to have a good time, still want to have a good value, and enjoy Vegas, and without any of the perceptions of street closures and traffic and price gouging? And so we came up with, and it was a collective effort of the downtown players really all working together, a free music festival spread throughout all of downtown, where all the properties are contributing and benefiting, whereby you have Fremont Street involved, you have the downtown event center, but you have all the venues within the hotels benefiting, and I think there'll be food components. I think a lot of people missed the scale and size that Life is Beautiful used to bring in September. So this is a way that we really think we can counter to F1, counter promote, and give people something else to do while they're in town. And then you also have the Broncos against the Raiders that weekend.
Right.
So it's going to be a busy weekend anyway in Vegas with that. So between the F1 and the Free Festival and then Broncos Raiders, it could become one of the better weekends of the year from being one of the worst.
Okay.
And on LIB, is that what you were about?
That was going to be my next question, because recorded anything since the Life is Beautiful announcement came about?
Yeah, we're the home of Life is Beautiful now.
The Life is Beautiful block party.
The Life is Beautiful block party. We've partnered with the new owners of it to keep it in downtown in some form, a different form. I really want to do a deep dive conversation with the team there on exactly what happened, how it got to this point, what the concept involves. From our perspective, it's our land. We want to be good partners. We really do believe it belongs in downtown. It was an amazing festival when Tony Hsieh started it 10 years ago, and what it meant to downtown in terms of putting downtown on the map and the energy it brought to the area. So keeping it down here was important. That was what we wanted to do, and then obviously it evolved into the block party and different things. But it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think people have been pleasantly surprised by the lineup. The lineup is very strong for the genre that it's in. And I think people are going to have a great weekend. It's going to be one of the greatest parties in the history of downtown. The music, the energy, the location. And now I think it's just a question of communicating the new experience and what it is. And they're definitely started this process late, so they got some catching up to do.
Right.
But it's going to be hard to do. But I think what I think about with the Plaza here is we could operate this place the way we do now. You've done this with me 10 years. Mm-hmm. Some of the team's been with me 15 years. We're pretty good at running the Plaza the way we do it. Now it's how do we keep pushing forward, taking on new risks, trying hard things. It'd be easy just to sit back and say, yeah, we'll just let Life is Beautiful go somewhere else, and we'll just do what we do on a normal September weekend. But this is going to be fun. This is going to be a challenge. This is going to stretch us to the limit, having 12, 15,000 people on property. It's going to be great.
In and out through the casino, it's going to be a massive undertaking, but I think the team's ready for it.
If it wasn't difficult, it wouldn't be as fun.
That's true. How long have you been working with the Life is Beautiful folks to get this at the Plaza?
Keep in mind, we've been involved with Life is Beautiful from the day one. We're sponsors. We did the MGMT after party. We did the pizza over there. We've been involved in so many different capacities, and we'll talk about all of that when we bring in our partner at Life is Beautiful, to talk about this in more detail, hopefully next month. But the idea of moving it really has been out there. I think everyone knew that the festival ground site that they were doing down there, those 18 blocks were never always going to be available. There was always going to be development that would impact that block. I don't think anyone thought it was going to be this quick that it would fall apart, but that site. But I do think that there was some idea last year of what's the evolution of this thing, and let's start looking. But we had loose conversations. And then in February of this year, the new owner had flown in with our chairman, who they happened to be friends. And all of a sudden, before we were walking the site, and they gave us basically like a 2-week window to get a deal done. And pretty much by like end of March, early April, we were already into the weeds of this thing. But there's a lot more that goes into it than just finding a site. And that's what they've been working on all this time. So listen, credit to them. They could have easily just said, scrap it this year, let's come back next year. And they didn't want to do that. They wanted to put a show on this year.
Nice. It's going to be exciting.
That's for sure.
And we'll have more about that on future episodes of the podcast, I'm sure.
Yeah. Coming up soon for sure.
Yeah. All right. Are you ready for some questions and answers?
Mm-hmm.
So we grabbed some of the best questions we could from all of our different social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. I don't think there was any we got a couple of them from Twitter.
And thank you to everyone for all of your questions. We don't have enough time to answer all of them, so let's just do a selection of them.
You got it. We'll start with @Sam Gorino. What's your favorite donut at Pink Box? I'll start you with an easy one.
That's a really easy one because I have my answer ready to go. I've tried most of them, and it is not even close. I'm a traditional old-fashioned, or a dirty twist.
Really?
It's one of the two. There's no. I won't even stray away from those two at this point.
Really?
I don't even go for the special of the month. I'm sticking with those two. Old-fashioned, dirty twist. Next.
Okay. For me, it's PB&J.
Okay.
So from Still Misbehaving, I'm wondering who that is. Would you be up for having Dick Feeney on as a guest?
Yeah, you were joking about who Misbehaving is.
Yeah.
So Amy, funnily enough, I would love to have Dick Feeney on as a guest. For anyone that doesn't know who Dick Feeney is, he was the owner of the Rat Pack, his back show. Mm-hmm. And when I moved to Las Vegas in 2007, he was running the show at the Plaza. And up until Amy is about to blow the socks off that room, he was the most successful show in that room. And he ran it until we shut down for the remodel. And he would bring buses of people in, and it was a Rat Pack, his back show. And if I've got the wrong Dick Feeney, Amy, I apologize, but that's who I think you're meaning. And yes, I would absolutely have Dick Feeney on our show.
I had to do a little bit of a Google search. I think we're talking about the same Dick Feeney.
Okay, good. So. Good. Yeah, that's who it was.
All right. So on X, I got to learn to say X instead of Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Lynn from NJ, on a recent podcast, you mentioned, excuse me, let me start that over. On a recent podcast, you had mentioned that you don't tier match, but match offers selectively. How does one go about doing that?
I'm really happy you asked that question because I had a couple of emails about me saying that. And also my casino marketing team was pretty mad at me for saying that because it was very ambiguous and confusing. So let me clarify what I was trying to say on that. We don't tier match at all. I don't understand also why people really need tier matching. I don't see that tier matching is something that one should do. Tier matching means you're a highest level ranked player at another property, and then you come here and you automatically get into that offer here. I don't think that's fair. People earn that over time. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't just give that away. What I meant to say is that we offer match. And offer matching means if you get an offer of free play, room nights, food and beverage at a different property, we probably will match that offer here, but we don't openly promote that because we're not looking for everyone to bring all of their offers from different places. But if you come to us and say, hey, I listened to your podcast, or hey, I watched your YouTube video, or I was walking by and you played here a little bit and you showed some play to the host, they have some discretion to then match offers based on that. If you're interested in having your offer matched, I get a few of those every month, and I send them to Esme, our director of casino marketing, and she works with you and generally is open to that. So that's what I meant to say, although I think the question actually reflects that, but there was some confusion about the tier matching piece.
Okay, perfect. Moving on to the next one. Yeah, and this one kind of ties into it a little bit too. At Vegas_Timmy, do you still do mailers for player card customers? Haven't received one recently. Along with that, will you ever allow the same customers to check their comps online? Love the podcast, love Oscars, love the Plaza.
Timmy, we do still do mailers. Don't know why you haven't got them, but you should definitely check with the Players Club on your account number to make sure we have the right address or whatever. And then the other thing is we do now have a system as of, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? We added the online, basically online portal where you can go in, type in your account number, you can book your offer directly there and book your room nights. Is that correct?
Yeah. And even if you don't, you'll get the exclusive casino rate discount if you don't have any offers or need to work back up to it. So it's all available online, plazahotelcasino.com.
But we definitely send mailers, and we send them to active players, inactive players. So you should be getting them based if you got them previously, unless you've gone inactive, like beyond the inactive period.
Check your email, and then if not, reach out to the Players Club to update your information.
Yep.
Good answer. So on Facebook, Deanna H. How many hands of blackjack do you lose before you pick a different table to play at?
Is this a trick question?
I don't know. Do you have a certain...
me personally?
You personally.
There's no industry standard for that question, Deanna. Stop losing when it doesn't feel fun. Stop playing when it doesn't feel fun anymore. Personally speaking, I don't play that many hands of blackjack just because I don't have the patience to play blackjack, to sit there. So if I might play 5 or 10. If I get on a good run, I'll keep going. But other than that, I'm not really a blackjack player. But generally, I'd say...
But would you table hop? Would you go from table to table? Or you're going to stick at that table. Worst case scenario, you get.
I don't really play blackjack, so I don't have a good answer for you on that. Personally, I play a couple of hands with friends, or if I'm teaching someone how to play and they're playing, I'll play with them. We had our chairman here the other day. I swear we played with him the other night at the Win, and he went on a run like I've never seen. He probably won 18 to 20 hands in a row without losing.
Really?
We were pressing as well, which was pretty exciting, but it was fun. So like that. But that's the opposite of your question, right? If you're winning, keep pressing. Do you lose before you? I would say if you lose 5, you should probably leave the table.
Okay. Listen, there's always a shuffle on the way, so the next shoe's just right around the corner.
You're probably
right?
a better person to ask the question too.
No, I really want you to answer the next question for me. So from Chris H, I love the Plaza. Ashley's a great casino host. Shout out to Ashley. Question is there any chance you'd bring back Texas Hold'em or poker tournaments? Even the big multiplayer sit-down version was enjoyable.
Do you remember?
Let me answer that question. No.
Do you remember when we had the electronic tables and you were running?
Of
you were the
course
poker
I
manager?
do. Yes, I do.
For anyone that doesn't know, that's how Gary got his start at the Plaza. He was the electronic poker room manager. And one day the guy came in my office and said, hey, he brought Gary with him. Poor Gary had no idea what he was talking about. And the guy said, hey, our tables are illegal or something.
They acquired the company.
And they didn't have the license.
They didn't have the license
anymore. And I told Gary, don't worry about it. You'll always have a job for life with us. But anyway.
I still thank you for that.
Yeah, that's okay. You don't have to thank me. But I don't think we'll bring poker to the Plaza. I think poker's great. I love it. I think the Golden Nugget does a great job with
Absolutely.
the poker room.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They do a great job.
And I have said this before, maybe not on the podcast, but we do bingo. That's what we do, and we do it well, and no one else does it. And I don't want to do something half-assed or quit or not commit to it. And I think poker would be a tough start from this point with nothing. Whereas the resources, time, and energy that we commit to bingo is what we do. No Texas Hold'em, no live poker tournaments coming to the Plaza anytime soon.
If this was 2006, it'd be a different conversation. But
maybe
it's a different game now.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, Wendy H asks, what has been your favorite experience personally in Vegas to date? In the 17 years, what is your favorite experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know, Wendy, if you knew it was my 17-year anniversary to ask that question. I have so many, and it would fill this podcast up for hours and hours. Obviously, having my 3 children here has to be top of my list. I have to say that. By the way, I bring 2 of my 3 children to the fireworks every Friday night, and they love to work. One of them puts the radio on. They see it as like their job, so they love it. I think probably favorite experiences is so hard, but besides the children and my personal life, I think going to the Super Bowl this year was pretty amazing in terms of experience. And I would say meeting the characters that make the city would be my favorite experience. The characters, I was telling a story last night at dinner of one of the biggest gamblers ever at the Win, Tiger Mike. And like meeting some of these people and the different characters that make Vegas special, I almost could write a book about that. I'd say that would be some of my best experiences off the top of my head.
For me, I'm going to tell you that one of my top experiences in Vegas has probably been doing this podcast. Yeah. And learning so much about Vegas history. I mean, when we have Billy Walters on the podcast, just to sit there and have that conversation for 2 hours, you couldn't buy that information. So
yeah, I also you're right. That I think anything in life when you're learning and taking on new challenges. For me, when I was 28, going to the gaming license process, I remember vividly. It was 12 years ago now, but I remember standing up there in front of these commissioners, thinking, "Oh my God, what am I doing here? Do I know what I'm doing here?" So anytime you have that moment of learning and pushing yourself to try new things or different uncomfortable things, those are great experiences too.
All right, moving on. Alex G, do you believe that the roof experience over Fremont Street still helps generate an economic flow in downtown, or is the novelty worn off? And then also as a follow-up, do you believe that the enclosed environment of Fremont Street puts off usual strip holiday markers from making the switch to downtown? Has the novelty worn off of Fremont Street?
It's a loaded question. I think we did an episode covering this, maybe with Vital Vegas. I don't remember what number it was, but one of the Vital Vegas episodes we discussed the Fremont Street and its benefits extensively. I think whatever happened, whatever you believe, something had to happen to downtown. There had to be a new investment, a new idea to bring people to downtown. It was the Fremont Street. I've had conversations where Steve Wynn explains to me the history of all the other things that he was proposing before the canopy came into effect. I think it's successful at bringing tourism downtown. So to answer your question, I don't think the novelty's worn off. I think you still see the numbers. At the end of the day, I tell Gary all the time.
Downtown's still growing.
Right.
Still
I tell
growing.
Gary all the time, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers suggest people like it, right? The zip line's busy, the street's busy, the bars are busy. So I think in terms of, do I believe that the enclosed environment Fremont Street puts off usual strip holidaymakers? I do think that happens, yes. I think it's a success and that it's busy and people come downtown for sure, I think when you see a certain clientele coming downtown, and I hear this every single day, and this is where the debate comes in, could it be different? You see the street performers and some of the elements and the less desirable elements of the street definitely puts off some people. But then that is the job of the hotels to say, hey, come over here now, come and check out Sandal, or come and check out Legacy, go down to some of the other bars down the street. And I think as downtown improves and the investment improves, people are finding those places. But for sure, if the Fremont Street experience wasn't a public street and could find out ways to better police the street, that would help for sure.
And the reduction of not having the Greyhound here has also helped make it a little bit more family friendly.
Yeah, that wasn't
downtown.
a question, but go ahead.
Right. Anyway, to follow up on that, Chris B asks, what's the next game changer to continue to make downtown the place to be?
I was on the roof of the Plaza this morning, and it is unbelievable to see how much development is happening in downtown right now. You have the AC Marriott being built on the other side of the train tracks. You have 2 high-rise condominiums being built. No one thought that was happening anytime soon. You have probably another, including those 2, 800 apartments and condos coming to downtown. And I've been saying for a long time, in order for this area to really take off, you need residents living down here and you need convention business. And I think the convention business will come with the AC Marriott and you need more higher end hotel, or not even higher end, but different specific room product types away from Fremont Street where they can stay and away from the noise. And I do believe that the next evolution is residences living downtown and convention business coming downtown. And I don't think they're that far away. Sports stadium would have been the best, but that's not happening, right? I mean, I shouldn't say that. It may happen, but it's not happening right now. But into the future, I think if you could get a sports stadium and a major league team, if you can get another 4,000 to 5,000 apartments over the next 5 years, downtown will be an unstoppable force.
Then we just need a grocery store.
That's the chicken or the egg. That's coming, right? But you need the people living down here first. Trust me, that's coming. It's imminent.
All right. Scott, I think we answered your question with the F1. Appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, the challenge for F1 is they got to sell tickets even to the footprint that they have now. Even if you say downtown's going to be different and you say some of the others are going to not raise their rates as high, F1's still got to sell tickets because as far as I'm aware, they have not changed their pricing structure.
Okay.
And I still don't understand it because you can go to an F1 race in England at Silverstone for a tenth of the price.
Here we are. But we'll see as it goes on, right? So, Ladson M, in the last several years, we've seen a lot of changes in table game. Worse odds, 6-5 blackjack, 000 roulette, etc., higher limits, and more electronic and stadium versions. What do you think is the future of live tables in Vegas, and is there a point where players revolt and start crowding your beautiful 0 reel?
Yeah, come and crowd our 0 roulette, please. We need a crowd there. It's doing great, though. It is definitely improving. And it's a tough one. I don't think live table games ever goes away. I think the energy, I think the experience of live table games is here to stay. For sure, electronic table games will eat into that. But until people start speaking with their wallets and not playing at the places that have the 000 roulettes and the 6-5 blackjacks, why would they stop? You know what I mean? I go out on the strip and I see very busy table games areas, and it really comes down to the reality is the recreational player just doesn't care. Or, sorry, I shouldn't say that. They just don't know that they're playing at a 000 roulette. And they actually may think that 3 greens are easier to hit than 2 or 1.
Right.
And then you talk about in the high limit rooms, they have got the 0 tables and the 3-2 blackjacks. And so they're basically taking care of the higher end players in those environments. No, I don't think live table games ever goes away. I do think you see some more electronic games. Although, funnily enough, on the stadium versions, I understand that we might be one of the only ones left with a stadium. I heard a lot of places took out their stadiums. If anyone knows why or where, then let us know. But I think we're one of the few stadium table gaming options out there left.
Your thing is you always want to give everybody the options to have everything. If you want a non-smoking slot area, you have an option. If you want the traditional casino experience, you have the option. You have table games.
But the problem is people want table games now in the non-smoking area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's a separate matter.
That's a whole separate set of challenges. So
yeah, so we think table games are here to stay. They definitely are, and I do think that the recreational player has to educate themselves more and go shop downtown. It's the same with sports betting, right? In downtown, you got 4 books on a corner. Check out the odds before you bet, right? And you got different odds at every place, and you're going to get way more value for taking an extra 100 steps to put on a bet at a different place.
But the best value in downtown is our fireworks every Friday night at 9:15. I'm segueing right into that, right?
It's free, baby. You can't get better than free. Yeah. 9:15 Friday night.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you guys for joining us so much in this little condensed version. We just wanted to give everybody some updates, and we're going to have some new guests and some live content coming out in the next few weeks. Stay tuned.
You a fan of On the Corner of Main Street? You're listening, so we'll assume that's a yes. So share the love, rate, review, and tell a friend to subscribe. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram @PlazaPod, on Facebook, Plaza Podcast, and feel free to write to the man himself @Jonathan Jossel. We'll see you next time, right here on the corner of Main Street.